I have Kristen Shuro and Tony Pfeiffer on the line, and welcome, Kristen. Welcome, Tony. And the excuse that got us together is that it looks like Kristen and Jill Hyatt have been doing some work, although not. It doesn't seem like they're connected. Correct? Am I right? And you're in different states, different time. But we're all kind of interested in anything that has to do with strengths and education, and so we'd love to hear your story and what you've experienced, and perhaps we can kind of share our knowledge and grow our knowledge from that. So with that said, Kristen, why don't you introduce yourself? And let me see here. I would love to know, tell us a little bit about your strengths journey, how you got interested in strengths and kind of where you are in that journey.
Okay.
And let me see here. What would be a good icebreaker question, Tony? How about where you spent your summers as a kid? Those are the two icebreaker questions, okay? So please go ahead and tell us about yourself.
Okay, first of all, how I got involved in strengths. I stayed home with my children for several years, and before that I was strong in the workforce and had the big career job, marketing and strategy consulting. And I wanted to get back in a very more meaningful way. But when you stay home for a while, sometimes you just kind of forget the language of what you're good at. And so I took the Strengths Finder, and I practiced. Talking about myself and strength again. And I started applying this to my interviews, and I did great. And it felt so good. I thought, this is what I'm going to do. Heck with the interviews. That I want other people to feel the same thing, especially, after being out of the workforce for a while. So that's how I got into it.
Wait a minute. I'm just kind of curious, though. Forgive me for jumping in. That's kind of what I do.
Anytime.
So you just how did you hear about Strengths Finder? Was it a book? Did someone recommend it? Tell me that.
Oh, well, my sister actually used to work for Gallup many years ago.
Okay.
And kind of a funny story is all three of us are now certified strengths coaches. Each of my three sisters, myself and my two sisters.
Wow.
Yes. So in fact, three of us were certified right before the summit. I had actually started, the first class I took was a year ago. So I took the 3-day course, finished that. So we're kind of an anomaly probably of strengths coaches. There are three of us.
All right, I'm writing this down, okay? Because this we're coming back to.
Okay.
This sounds very unique. That you have three sisters.
Well, two sisters. There are three of us. Yes.
Two other sisters.
Yeah.
Certified in strengths.
Yep.
That is huge fodder for discussion. Okay. But I'm not going to go down that path just yet. I have enough control. All right. Okay. All right, so Tony, we're going to get to you in a minute. So just round it out, Kristen. What did you do? Where did you spend your summers as a kid?
That's also very interesting. My father loves to work, and we just go black. Okay. Hi, Jill.
Hi.
Hello, Jill. Welcome. So, Jill, we're having people introduce themselves. Kristen it's kind of in the middle of her introduction. She told us a little bit how she got introduced to strengths. We just found out that her two other sisters are also certified coaches, which I'm kind of still trying to absorb. And now the icebreaker question is, where did she spend her summers as a kid? So, Kristen, why don't we take it back to you?
Yes. So my summers, my father owned a very successful trucking company, and on the weekends he loved to work. He bought a Christmas tree farm, so we would go up and work on the Christmas tree farm. And we went fishing. So I'm really good at trees and fishing, which I don't do anymore. But yeah, that's what we did a lot of.
Wonderful.
It was very bonding.
Where was the farm? In Maine or?
Annandale, Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay, it's what you do in Minnesota. You have a farm, a tree farm. All right, very good. Thank you so much.
Yep.
So I'm still going to let Jill catch her breath, Tony. You come over and you tell us a little bit about yourself and then where you spent your summers as a kid. Okay.
my question. Okay, so what was the question? The first question to Kristen again? Not
Is what, how did you get introduced to strengths?
Oh, okay. Yeah. 2002, my younger son was on leave in the Air Force, and he grabbed Now Discover Your Strengths at the airport. And he read part of it, and he came to visit mom and dad, and he handed it to him, and he goes, "Here, you should read this." And so he didn't know there was a passcode in the back. And I'm already qualified in Myers-Briggs and strong interest, and I've done a lot of different things myself, innovative things with personal growth and assessments and things like that. Did my own Strength Finder, which would have been 1.0. Intrigued, I was fascinated, I was all in. And then a little more than a year ago, I revisited the strength conversation for a couple of reasons, and that's actually what catapulted me into, this whole strength and meeting Justin and getting certified strength strategy recently in June. Just really love everything that strength provides. It gives an opportunity for us to talk about ourselves in a very confident and vulnerable, empowering way, just to help people really with the use of the Strength Finder, but more importantly, develop and be at their brilliant best on a daily basis. Summers, Justin, I didn't do that much. I didn't, we didn't. By the time I was 13, my parents got divorced, so it wasn't kind of like a family outing. We'd go somewhere kind of thing. I would just spend as much time outside playing baseball. High school, I spent a lot of time in Lake Michigan and at the pool. I'm a white guy. I like having a good tan.
So living in Puerto Rico helps, I guess, with that, right?
Yeah. Can't you see the glow? I mean, come on.
I see the brilliance, Tony, the brilliance. All right, thank you so much. And so, Jill, what we're doing is we're just sharing how did you get started in strengths, and an icebreaker question is where did you spend your summers as a kid?
Okay, so I'm a K-12 teacher. I was officially introduced to the Strengths Finder program 2 years ago through a colleague, and read one of the books. And then when I went to the Positive Education Conference this summer, actually went to Justin's talk, and that kind of reminded me that, that had come up for me a couple years ago and how I could use it for myself. And your talk reminded me that I really wanted to try using it more intentionally with my students. But my current position is as a gifted support teacher. I coordinate gifted and talented programs. And I feel like our whole premise of how we operate is working from kids' strengths, even if it's not officially with Strengths Finders, because there's the kind of more traditional model of education where we try to make kids get better at what they're not good at. But in gifted ed, we are always focusing on what they're good at and strengths and interests and passions and how I can get them into programming to develop those things. So I think it fits really well with my current position.
Ooh, my curiosity radar is going way up. Okay, I'm writing that down. I wrote gifted education. It sounds like catalyst for change. I don't know. I'm coming back to that.
Okay.
Because that sounds like I can learn something there. I think we all can. So glad, Jill, you could make this call. I've really been looking forward to meeting you both. And where did you spend your summers?
So I grew up south of Pittsburgh, PA, and we had a pool at home. So we spent a lot of time there, but my mom has family out in Southampton, New York, so we would usually go there about a week every summer.
Yeah.
Through my teens. Yeah.
I also, not just the fact that you and I had met or at the conference, am I so glad that you're here, that actually, Jill, I'm reflecting in the years that I've been doing this, it's mainly been strength coaches that have joined this call, or I would put strength enthusiasts. But I think what I'm really celebrating right now internally is that you are a teacher. And this is, I think, the vision that I have. I want to create a dialogue and a resource and a community for strength enthusiasts and, most importantly, teachers, to energize them, as kids. So I'm just really so glad to meet you, and hope that this is only the first of many future conversations.
Well, I'm excited too. I'm glad it fit your vision because I wasn't quite sure, since I'm not a strengths finder coach, if
Right.
this would be useful. And I mean, I'm interested in it, so I want to learn what you all do and more about the program. But good.
Sure.
It will be mutually beneficial.
All right, and so I'll just say about myself, I took the strengths in 2006, thought it was interesting, put it in a drawer, and 7 years later, I was designing a high potential program for the organization that I was in. The program was a huge success, and the pinnacle part of that program was strengths. It was obvious, it was apparent, it was evident, and it came out in the evaluation. It was so impactful on me as a professional that I quit my job, said I have to do this full time. And by the way, our whole education system needs this somehow. I don't know. And so that's just a little bit of my story. I spent my summers as a kid in Cape May, New Jersey. My family had a house there for generations, and that's where I spent a lot of time. So let's start. I'd like to come back to Kristen. Kristen, I would like to know just what are some recent work that you've been doing in strengths. I know you've had this huge, that's the sense I'm getting. You've got this huge assignment. You've been assigned to do something big.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to hear that story. I want to hear the successes, and let's if there's any challenges and if there's any we can help or brainstorm as adults, would love to be able to do that.
Yeah. So focusing on education, right? So when I just talk right about what I'm doing in the middle school.
Please.
And, sure. I met with the principal there because as a new strengths coach, my focus was to work with kids in AVID. I'm sure that Jill knows what AVID is, but it's for kids that are pretty much struggling. And I just wanted to talk about what's right with them for an hour. We do this at the high school, just on a volunteer basis, and it's really powerful for those kids. In fact, we have a smaller program that is ongoing at the high school. We just get together and we just talk for an hour, and the kids just leave from they have a platform of strengths where before they may not even ever thought about what's right with them. They're so busy hearing what's wrong with them. And so I started that conversation, and then he quickly went to, well, let's just do it for the whole school. I'm like, no.
Yay.
And,
Yay!
No. I wanted to do it with excellence. So I felt like I needed to, so we agreed to a strengths trial. We're doing it with 6th graders, and the purpose of it is to create a sense of passion for these kids. And so we're hitting kids from the gifted to the kids that are in AVID, but we're hitting everybody. And anyway, it's wonderful. So we started with the principal and coached him and make sure he understood it, and kind of a top-down approach. And then the teachers, we've done one-on-one coaching with each of the teachers, and also with we had a workshop and kind of not only introduced them to what strengths is, but we also had to make it come alive for them. And then we had to do this train the trainer concept, which is really hard to figure out because I couldn't find anything in when I searched Gallup literature or what other people are doing. And that's why I was happy to find you, Justin, because I couldn't find anything that spoke to the how to apply this knowledge. So so I really struggled with that. So that was a challenge. So we finished the teacher workshop, and they were excited, and and then what we decided would be a great idea is the principal and I, we thought it would be a great idea, because one thing I've noticed with the principal, he's very high in strategic thinking themes. He doesn't have anything in executing. And so I suspected that he might be really trying to track down. And he was. And there was one teacher that was very high in influencing themes. So I suspected she might be the one, and she was. So I just put it out there to see who would want to work with me. And what I found my approach that works best is more of a collaborative approach, So this teacher and I are working together to develop a curriculum to last throughout the whole year for this that would apply, that would be meaningful to the students. Any questions so far? Or?
Oh, I'm writing them all down. Okay, you want to see my page?
What
Look at
is
this page. I got all these questions.
Okay, good. So should I just keep going, or?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay, in doing this, I researched quite a bit. I love the work by, I'm sure you know Sean Lopez and Chip Anderson, and also talked with this guy out of Harvard, Jonathan Dahl, and I got all kinds of nuggets of wisdom, but it's all heavy in research. And so by working with the teachers, we developed it, we simplified it to make it more meaningful to the students. So anyway.
What's the age of students? What's the age of students?
Sixth grade would 12 years old, mostly 12, 13, 11 to 13, I'd say.
Did you use the Strengths Quest or Strengths Explorer?
Yep, we did the Strengths Explorer, and that's another one I had to learn because they didn't teach us that either. So, so I have been studying more than I do anything else, but it's been really fun. So we did the Strengths Explorer for 136 graders, and this school is transitioning from a junior high to a middle school model. So we have 136 graders in the junior high this year. Next year we'll have about triple that. So we had 136 graders, and it's really interesting. I wasn't sure how it would come across, but they were intrigued. And the next day we did a student rally, and we got all the sixth graders together, and we had them stand up if they had achiever, and we all clapped for those with achiever, and each one of them. And it was exciting, and it was exciting to see them excited. And then the trick was to keep it alive. So, because it's, I kept emphasizing, we don't want this to be a one and done, and some of the kids, some of the kids, it was obvious that, oh, they have presence. And some of the kids, like I was talking to the teacher the other day, kids with organization, you didn't see it, but we started talking through what that might look like, and already they're more organized, and they're turning in assignments more, and they're like, yeah, that's me. But again, it was a talent, wasn't a strength. We're helping develop that.
I'm not sure I caught.
Okay.
I need to connect the dots there. So. What are the teachers seeing?
Well, some of it is obvious. Some of it is not. Some of them like, I don't see it. But it kind of gave them that blueprint to the conversations that might be most impactful for those kids. You see what I mean? No. Okay. So for example, confidence. Confidence is a good one. It's a very quiet theme. It's a Strengths Explorers theme. It's very quiet, and it might not be obvious that this kid believes that they can do so much more, that if you ask them to do a bigger project, that might actually energize them. You see what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
So they're finding that it kind of gives them a window into their soul, so to speak. Kind of gives them a window into, what windows they can open for the different children. And the feedback, it's been exciting. So anyway, so we now it's in the school system. And I don't know how familiar you are with Strengths Explorer.
I have had my kids do it, and yes, I know the 10. But maybe it might be good just to list through. Just remind us the 10. Do you have that handy, or should I get that? I'll get it. Hold on.
Handy. Just gonna pull out. Here we go. So the Strengths Explorer, we gave them, each of the students, we printed the student guide for the Strengths Explorer. Are you familiar with the student guide?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Okay. So each of the kids, they started with an about me exercise, what I've done, about me now, about me in the future, and then the words that describe me. And then when you look at your Strengths Explorer report and the words I didn't think of that made sense to me. So they kind of wrote down what resonated most with them.
Right.
So that's where we are at now. And you wanted to go over the 10 themes.
Yeah, I just
And,
wanted to list them. I mean, I can maybe, I mean, from memory, it might be a little bit. You have achiever or something like that. Achiever.
Achieving. Caring.
Achieving, that's right. You have competing. You have dependability.
Confidence.
You have caring.
Yes.
You have discovery.
Yep.
Help me out now. Presence.
Future thinker.
Future thinker, okay.
Organizer.
Organizer.
And relating.
Relating, okay.
Do you have all 10 now?
Okay.
Okay.
So, love what I'm hearing. I don't want to stop you, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to see. So again, so with the principal, the teachers, the students, and so what we did in the classroom, we put up each of the themes on the wall, just to put it out there, and the students are really excited about it. They keep going to the themes, they keep reading about it, and I've seen this with adults when you've done workshops, but it created this buzz because it gives you, I'm missing the words, but a language in common. It gives you because like, you know, how does they start talking about, I have achieving, you have achieving, and it kind of gives them something in common that they didn't realize they have.
It's a new language, right? It's a language of talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually wrote a blog article on this very idea that this is actually, I think, a historic moment for humanity. That we actually, the way we have languages invented, what, like, I don't know, 80,000 years ago or something, right? And that changed, or maybe not that long, but I think it was maybe 5,000 years. So it changed, it invented history. Language created a new way to pass on knowledge. Now we have language of talent. Imagine what that's going to do for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yes, I understand the value of having a language for talent.
Yes, and something we do want to do with this moving ahead, one of our brainstorms is as a diversity tool too, is just start seeing each other in what's right about us, of course, but in strength, and how does that show up, and it kind of opens their eyes, and how it also gives them something to talk about with someone who on the surface might appear to be very different from them, but they have the same thing. This is, I'm speaking to the choir, I know. The next thing that we're doing is I don't know what you're familiar with, but the Gallup student poll.
Yep. Oh, I was going to ask you about that. I was very curious about that. Okay, so it's coming up November, right?
What's now? Yeah, we're doing it next week.
Next week, got it.
2 weeks, sorry. So we're sending out the parent letter, and this takes 10 to 15 minutes to do. And our plan is we're going to take the tools from the educator guide and the student guide for the Strengths Explorer playbooks.
Yeah.
Use it as our 2016 model. And then what we learned from the assessment, the Gallup student poll, that gives you back a bunch of values-based data. And we're going to use that data to customize our program for 2017.
Wonderful.
And then
Cool.
the last thing we're doing is we have parent-teacher conferences coming up.
Yes.
In a few weeks. And we're doing some really cool things for that. But we're doing a twofold. One is just as simple as we're printing page, I think it's 5 or 6 from their Strengths Explorer report.
Yep.
And it has on their page, it also has their access code, and it gives them more detail in their top 3 themes and what that means. So we just want to give it an introduction, and that's it. And then we're going to be doing a workshop for the parents.
I was going to ask you that. Is that coming?
Yeah, we're developing this as we go, though. You know, so it has to slowly roll out. So we're looking at doing that in January. And then just one other thing I failed to tell you earlier is that we did have a back to school night for the parents. And this is the first time we've had 6th grade in our junior high. And the principal is saying he was expecting to talk about the long bus rides or
Right.
math model or whatever. I mean, and he had one slide that I gave him on strengths, and
Yeah.
that's all the parents. He said that's what they kept talking about. I know.
Yeah.
I know. So I think it's a language that's long overdue in the schools. And when I say we, all these programs we're doing, I'm working with the teachers to do this because I have the knowledge. I have the resources. I do all this work that they don't have the time to do, but they'll make it impactful and relevant. So it's a real
Kristen, you are a person of gentle power.
Thank you.
Are you feeling this, Tony? Are you hearing this?
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah, I'm smiling.
My heart is getting full right now. I'm sorry to kind of get a little touchy-feely on you, but I'm just inspired by the work you're doing right now. I just want to see it. I wish I had a periscope that I could go in and just look.
Well,
You know,
we are creating a binder of best practices that we are refining. I mean, I watched for the student rally. Some of the slides were phenomenal, and some of them I could see the students starting to yawn, and so we crossed that one out. So
yeah, right.
it's only going to get better. We did did you go to the summit?
Okay, so no, I did not go to the summit, and because, and I think Jill will appreciate this, right? That's how Jill and I met, is that I decided to go to another summit. There was one that was happening at the exact same time.
I would love to see that one too.
The IPEN Festival,
Yeah.
right? And so my thinking was, my feeling was this, is that Gallup really, how should I phrase this that's polite? I feel that their focus isn't so much on education. They may say otherwise, but I'm just not feeling it. I don't feel like there's the research necessary yet. I mean, look, I don't want to criticize Gallup because I love what they've done, and I love the Gallup student poll. I love that.
Love it.
Right? And I felt like my connectedness theme wants to build bridges to a wider world, right? And so I was motivated to go to this Positivity in Education Festival, and I managed to hook and crook my friend Tony to come down and join me. So the two of us attended that along with Jill, right?
Okay.
So, well, you attended that, right? That's how you and I met. So, please continue, Kristen. Do you have any?
Well, right now we're waiting for the student poll to happen, and the other thing is that we're working on two other things we want to do. It's really exciting. We need to do something to help the strengths come alive and personalize it for the students. Again, our whole goal is to keep it exciting among 6th graders who I wasn't sure how excited they would be about feeling different,
right?
But it's been okay, so 2 things. We have a poster in the classroom where we have each of the strengths, and underneath the strengths we have everyone's name, and that's okay. I wasn't sure about that, but again, that's why it's so nice to work with teachers, because I'm not there. And then 2 other things we're doing is there's this book. I wish I could remember the book because Jill might have heard of it, but I'll look it up. We have this book that we're working on, and it's really artistic, and we draw a silhouette of the students.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and then we're listing each of their strengths.
Yeah.
And then all the words that come alive for them coincide that silhouette.
Yep.
On like the left-hand side, and it's full color. It's really cool looking. And then on the right side is them journaling about how it shows up for them. And
so yeah, I've seen this activity done. Similar stuff that was done by a fellow Teach with Strengths member named Adrian Ruiz. I've seen him post. Now I don't know if it's the exact same activity, but it seems similar, where there's a silhouette and they're talking about their strengths inside that silhouette.
Right.
I've also seen something similar done where they take the silhouette and then they paint in themselves as a superhero, right? These are their superpowers kind of idea.
Yeah. We've done the superhero idea too, yeah.
You've done some of that work?
Well, some super, yeah. In fact, I was kind of laughing at it because I thought that the 6th graders would think it was too
third grade-ish.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. Jill, what are you saying?
I'd say, oh no, I would think they would still love it. My
I
7.
know. This is again, this is why I need teachers to,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't claim to know either, which is lovely because the 6th grade teachers seem to like, they seem to like to do the things that I would probably spend hours and hours and hours just wondering, would this work?
Right.
Time. Anyway, so they get one of these books free for the classrooms. We applied for a grant. We have some innovation grants in our district to provide a book for each of the students. So,
what's the name of the book?
Huh?
Name of the book?
Oh, we're just calling it a strengths. Our 6th grade strengths book. We're going to brand it. We haven't figured out the name yet.
Oh, so wait a minute, you want to create a book? Is that what you're saying?
We're creating a book for each of the homerooms. It's about.
Of course.
I know, it's pretty fun.
There's school.
You are a pioneer. I just want to let you know. You're doing work that is pioneering, and I know you didn't mean to. You probably thought, oh, yeah, I'll do this job, and I'm going to buy stuff that everyone's already done, and you're realizing that, no, it's not there.
It's so hard. That's why I think I think that between what Gallup does, because the research is phenomenal, and between the iPen and what you're doing, giving those applicable tools would save so much time.
Right.
Because just getting together and having a dialogue about best practices is wonderful. The other thing we're doing is everything I've been reading is if the teachers aren't engaged, right, it's kind of hard to expect.
Right, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because this is something that really motivates me and Jill, I'm bringing you in here on this conversation.
Yeah.
Teachers get so focused on the kids, and even I think it happens to the principals too. Kids, what do the kids need? That's right. That feels right.
Yeah.
And who's focused on the teachers? Who's feeding the teachers? How are we getting teachers to bring out their best selves, right? How can they take those strengths and use them so that they can bring it every day? Well, that I think that there's an opportunity there. And Jill, first, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Do you have any?
Well, I have a couple of questions for Kristen first.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it was kind of around teacher buy-in and also some of the logistics of implementation of your program. And I apologize if this is repetitive. I lost my Wi-Fi for a few minutes when you started. I'm wondering, you talked about the activities you've done with the kids from the student guide and when they took the assessment and things. Where do they do that in their school day?
Right. Good question. Because I was wondering about that too. What we found that within their school day, they do have a 20, 25-minute time. It's basically their homeroom time.
Okay.
There's another name for it, but so that's when they do the About Me exercises, for example. But the way to make strengths work at the school is what I'm told. Actually, I talked to, I'm sure you've heard about Howard County. Their whole school district does strengths. So I've actually been talking to this Rachel, I think it's Idaho Eckett. And she said what they found works best is when you integrate the strengths within the curriculum. So that's what we're working on. So art is a big one right now. So in the art class. So that's when we're evolving to make it an integrated part of their school day.
How does that work with the teachers? Do you have to, you or their principal, or did someone have to convince them this was a good idea? When do you have time to meet with them to train or work with them on these things?
Sure. We're anticipating doing 3 workshops this year, and the principal did commit to actually giving them substitutes for them to do a half day. Okay. So we did a half day to launch it, and then I tend to have 7 o'clock in the morning meetings with them.
Yeah.
So the one-on-ones are either early or else they're later. And then I show up when they do the assessments. I'm just to help out.
Okay.
So
And how receptive have they been?
Yeah.
It's been an evolution, but it's been a fun evolution. We had the biggest naysayer that was actually the most satisfying because she came around.
Okay.
I kind of liked her a lot because
You said
it was an accomplishment. But as they understand it, it's been good. The thing is, they not only had to learn their strengths, but they had to learn explore strengths. So what we did is we beat them up. So each of them are responsible for learning two really well. Okay. So they're the experts. And so I talked to them about it. It's them teaching each other. And then
did the teachers take Strengths Explorer or Strengths Finder?
Strengths Finder.
Did you coach the teachers?
Yeah.
You gave them a one-on-one hour or something?
Yep.
Did you do a team workshop with the let's say the team leaders or the principals and the department heads? Tell me about that. Did you do any work kind of with the administration and the management of teachers?
I worked with the principal a lot before we got to this point in designing what the program might look like.
Yeah.
And then I did the workshop with the teachers only. The principal was supposed to show up, but he's very, very hard to nail down. And what I've found with him is he's ideation.
Right.
He likes to launch things.
Yeah.
And it's off. So I kind of had not carte blanche, but it took me time to understand what was happening, because I would reach out to him and now I just give him, hey, I got this. That's all he wants to hear is I got it.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
so my job is to make him look good, basically. So
wait a minute. How many teachers are there? 100?
No, just 5.
Oh, just
130 students. 130 students.
130 students. Oh, that's okay. So 130 students. There's 5 teachers. That's relatively small. How does that strike you, Jill? I mean,
that's similar to the middle school I work at. I mean, we have 450 kids, but we have about 5 teachers per group of 100 to 120.
Yeah.
All right. So you're not doing the whole school. You're just doing this one group then, Kristen, or is this school small?
Yeah. No, just doing the 6th grade students.
Okay.
Next year, our plan is to roll it out to the whole school.
Okay.
In 2017?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's an interesting approach. I can see the benefit of doing it with just one team or one grade and working out all the kinks first.
Yeah, and because there are things I really want it to be excellent. And again, when we started, this was my first big group like this, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to teach those students. You see?
Yes.
And so I grew up quickly. I realized I don't have to.
No.
Nor should I.
Not at all. That's not me. Yeah.
Right. So it's been an evolution for me too. So if I were to, take anything from this, I mean, even just knowing that, every tool I have is to support them, and they're gonna be the one gal I call she's my strengths advocate, and I could see all of them being strengths advocates in the schools, you see, so for next year. So anyway, and as far as who asked the question about the strengths?
Tony.
I did.
So yeah,
Laughing.
definitely, yes, good to best, good to better, definitely. What I was going to say, anyway, because this program cannot be sustainable with just me.
Yeah.
This program will be sustainable with the support of those already in the school and the experience. So I think this is the right approach.
I can't wait for you to do something with the parents. I feel like the parents, if you can touch them, something like dynamite is going to blow up. I mean, in a good way. I mean,
Yes.
Because here's the other thing, that a couple things that one of my idea is, I feel there's a great missed opportunity with grading. I feel that teachers can talk about students using the language of strengths in the grading and the parent-teacher conference.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what parents want to hear. Yes, they want to hear perhaps where they might be struggling, but you know what? They want to hear, how is their kid special? What are the strengths of their kids, so that they can guide them appropriately. And that's really been absent in my own experience as a parent. So I don't know, have you looked into that at all? How to use the language of these strengths as the teachers write or have these parent-teacher conferences?
We're just starting. We're just putting that together. It's not as rich as I want it to be yet, but yeah, definitely. I'm reading everything, of course, on that now, and I found some great tools on how to have great conferences. Yes, very much a learner, and
yeah, you think?
that's number one, you know. Anyway, so yes, we are looking at that. It'll be interesting to see what the appetite is for it too. It's all been very gratifying. I wasn't sure what the appetite would be amongst the students, and it's huge. So I don't know the percentages yet, but it's been really gratifying.
So let me jump in here. Jill is sitting over there, and there's just not enough time for us. I don't know. Let me ask the group. I don't want to decide. I want us to decide. I want to hear your story, Jill. And at the same time, Kristen, I have so many questions for you, and I don't know. I'm pulled.
I'd like to hear what
do you guys want to do?
Jill, are you using strengths in the classroom?
Not in a high school class I teach, I would say yes, but not, like, I'm not a certified coach, so I don't know that it's necessarily the Strengths Finders framework exactly, although I have tried a few activities so far this year specifically with the Strengths Finders. But I would say in the high school class I teach, yeah, the whole thing is based around developing the kids' strengths. Strengths as a general term, not maybe as, the list of the 10 strengths from Strengths Explorers necessarily.
Right.
I could talk about that a little if you want. I have one more question, though, for Kristen. Are the teachers you're working with taking the idea of using the strengths for their own professional, personal development, or are they really just focused on how to do this with the kids?
What I would say both. But that is also, if I tried to get the teachers to do this in August, for example, before school started, but I just couldn't get the ball rolling as fast as I would like to get it. I just couldn't make the prints. There's so much going on. Yeah. And so we're doing it kind of in tandem. Okay. I would recommend, if I could have my world, that the teachers, we would have done all this in August. So the first one-on-one coaching is basically understanding how the strengths show up for them. Okay. And the second coaching will be more about appreciating your strengths in yourself and others. And that's the second one. But, right now I just want them to start seeing how their talents are showing up for them. So,
I think that I'm thinking about Jill at the moment. Like, Jill, like, you are an individual teacher and you discovered something of value and that you're bringing it to your class, right?
Right.
So hard as a teacher to, oh, by the way, the whole school should adopt this, or the whole school district, right? Right. So it's just a totally different role or experience. Yet I think all three of us are probably really curious what's it like in the classroom and it doesn't work. So would you just talk a little bit about your experience?
Sure. So one of the classes I teach it's this general class that we call Gifted and Talented Enrichment for high school students. And the whole framework of the class is to give them a time at school to explore something they're personally interested in, since that doesn't happen the rest of the day, as well as working on like 21st century learning type skills, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration. And so we spend probably 40 to 50% of class time on independent projects that they develop. And so that's where I've been able to integrate it in. So at the beginning of and my school district hasn't butt in, so I didn't even have like codes or money for them to do the official Strengths Explorer. So I just brought them the Strengths Finder list, and they read it, and we talked through it, and we talked about examples of where we've seen different people like that. And then I just asked them to pick their top 5.
Lizzie, come here for a second, please.
Sorry. I tried to go into an office, and that's when my Wi-Fi started cutting out. So
That's all right. No worries. I got kids and I got a dog, so I get it.
So we started with identifying their strengths, and then the thing I posted on the Facebook page where I had them actually build a 3D model that was somehow abstractly representative of their strength.
Yeah.
You posted that, didn't you?
Yeah.
I love that. I showed the teachers that. They loved it.
Oh, cool. That's something I've actually used in the past, but I've had them do it around without the Strengths Finder list. Like, I just have them identify some of their own personality features, because right away I'm trying to get them to think symbolically and metaphorically as kind of one of the class objectives. So this year I just used it with the Strengths Finder list, and they were super excited about it. They got it, and then I made them explain why they made the structure the way they did, and so I was really sure that they did get what I was going for with that. Yeah, that would be a good idea to have, our own page. Definitely. And then they make a project proposal for a topic that they want to explore throughout the semester. And it's pretty wide open. Some of them do research projects about something they're interested in. Some of them do creative work. This year I've really gotten into design thinking, and some teachers around the country are trying these innovation classes, Genius Hour. I don't know if you're familiar with any of those terms, but the idea that they can take up also maybe a problem in the community or their school that they see and work on trying to solve it. So they're each individually coming up with projects related to that. And so this year I asked them to think back to those 3 top strengths that they identified, and how does 1 or 2 of those strengths fit with the project, or how might they develop that strength more through the project? And we're just finishing up those proposals at this point in the year. The one that sticks off the top of my head as an example, they have to also have an essential question for their project. And one of my female students came and said, I want to paint used drum heads. I want to make a series of paintings. I have like 18 or 20 used drum heads at home. She's a drummer. And I said, okay, but what's your essential question? Like, what are you getting at with that? What do you want to learn? And she said, my question is, how can you make something beaten beautiful?
Oh.
Wow.
Right. Well, there's more, because I said, well, why is that interesting to you? And she said, because I have a friend that was experiencing domestic violence, and I want to use it as a metaphor for that. And so her strength is empathy, which I don't even know that I would have totally gotten to it if I didn't ask her to put her strength onto that, because I thought this was just kind of a random art project. But yeah, empathizer.
And then I'll get chills.
Yeah.
That's,
So that's my best example.
I'm getting goosebumps right now. That's just.
That is amazing.
Tony, isn't this incredible? This is.
I could listen to these ladies talk all day. Let me just say a couple of things. One, Kristen, I just really appreciate diving into, this is what I know, but I can't do it all. I got to build this collaboration. And you figure that out from the get-go. And that just makes me really happy, okay? And then you see the ripple effect of, okay, it's the principal, and he's okay, not going to execute, okay, enough said, and you follow the threads and where they are and who's got the most juice, and here we are, and now you're doing this best practice capture and all the other things that you're doing, and I'm just like, yeah, and where was that when I was in 6th grade? Hello? And I know from firsthand experience, because I worked with that population as a third-party entity. I came in as a middle school advisor in Cleveland, Ohio, a number of years ago. And actually, that's how I started my 2 questions, which was, how did public education and since we know how the brain develops and learns, why aren't we teaching these universal principles and common sense practices in homes? And that was before we had Strength Finder. We have this incredible tool, and we have all that. You're right, all the research and the policy, stuff. But where I get the most excited, and I know Justin does too, is to connect with the boots on the ground, the people that are on the front lines like you and Jill that are saying, okay, great, I know this, but how do I get this to the rest of the planet? And you're creating a model, Kristen, that I know you get that, but I want you to hear it from my perspective. You're creating a model that becomes something that we can all use, right? Jill can use, and you can collaborate together across schools, cross districts, or whatever. And then Jill, just, she walked away.
No, she probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just say this, okay? And I'll let Kristen and Justin speak from their perspective as well. And what you're doing is incredible. Incredible. One story of I'm going to take what's beaten and make it beautiful.
That's the best.
How many of those do you need to do in one school year? And the impact to us that are listening, and you were coaching her, and it's empathy, and it's more than just this art project. And what you've done is you've teased out what's inside of her.
Yeah.
Voice to it.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's not about being a certified coach, Jill.
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit, Tony, at least for me, but I get the feeling, that she's bringing out the best in that student through the combination of through independence, right? She's creating a climate where the student can self-explore and give expression to something meaningful, and yet she's also providing guidance and resources regarding strengths. Mm-hmm. And what a story this is of strength development, where empathy is growing. So that's what I guess I'm taking away so far, is that beautiful story. Mm-hmm. Let me ask this, Kristen. Is there anything you could share for our community? So just as Jill posted some activities that she using kind of these structures, is there anything that you could share to the community, whether it be an activity or a method or a strategy for others that are also trying to do what you're doing, or teachers that are trying to implement it?
Oh, nothing as wonderful as the drums.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
It's like I said, this has only been going on since school started. So we're more so focused on using the tools that are within the student playbook. Yeah. The Strength 4. So we're focused on that, and that whole naming it, or really following that model, the name, play, name. We're at that point of having them understand it, and then we're going to the art, like what Jill's doing, to kind of personalize it. And I think that self-expression for that grade is important. It's just putting themselves out there and showing something strong about them is wonderful. So one thing, I don't know if that answers your question, but we have a lot of things in process, but we don't have it done.
I think it might, because what I think I just learned is, when I talk to Gallup, they also agree that the strengths need to be infused into the curriculum. And yet, by the same token, they admit there's some curriculum that just doesn't work. Like, how do you infuse it in math curriculum? They admit it just doesn't. Well, really hard. But I think, and I do want to hear your thoughts on that. But what
Yeah.
I'm hearing, I feel like I just learned is actually the best place to start might be the art class, because there's something about expression, about trying to give image to what's visceral, right? And in a little bit, that's kind of what art does. So there may be that might be a best practice, perhaps, that starting in art class might be the best place to start. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I think that's good. And plus, it's kind of hard to. What reason the teachers wanted that poster up there, for example, because in 6th grade, the students, this might be their homeroom, but they change rooms, right? One's the math teachers, one's the social studies. They wanted the poster up there so they could refer to it. Okay, who's strong? And well, presence kind of stands out, but who's strong in the different strengths? And there are only 10 in Strengths Explorer, for example, so that they could refer to that to kind of remind them how to personalize their approach. Because that just doesn't happen. You kind of need that cheat sheet when you have 130 kids throughout the day. You know
So I'm
what I mean?
writing it down. Best practice right now is to hang up these posters.
Right. In fact, I've been charged with, and I'm working on it this weekend. We're trying to make it look a little bit, we're working on an outline what that might look like. We have it up, but it's rough. But we want, right now it's by homeroom, so we want to put all 130 kids up underneath each of these themes.
Sure.
So we've kind of decided that would be I guess that's our best practice for right now, yes. So kind of decided that. One other thing I did want to tell you that we're doing, we also asked for a grant for this too, is when I started talking about how the teachers need to model it, I wanted to make sure you heard this. I'm excited about it. We're actually taking a picture of each of the teachers, and they're in a dark hallway at the end of the school, and we're putting each of the teachers up on the hallway, a picture of them, right? And and it could have things like pot of dirt, they like the garden, maybe dirty socks from traveling the world, or books, or whatever they like to do, which to look at, we're more than just what the first glance
listed on the
and we're trying, again, they have to be the example, and
Are you going to list their strengths?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. So we're excited about that one.
Justin, when you had asked, like, what could Kristen share with the community, were you referring to like the Facebook page, the Teaching with Strengths community on there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was an open question. I didn't really.
Oh.
Like an activity, a Facebook page. Yeah. Is there a Facebook page that you could link to, or we could link to?
No, I mean the one that you have, the group. I'm sorry, the group on Facebook, the Teaching with Strengths group.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Is there something because there's about 300 members now, right?
Right, and I'm wondering how many of them are teachers, because the different, I was writing, I kept a list of the different things Kristen said, the pep rally that they did, and the posters on the walls, and the ways that they're going to, the page they're printing out to incorporate at parent-teacher conferences. Like, any of that, if you posted in that group, would be really useful to me as a teacher to, okay, this is a concrete way.
Yeah, and I'm making a list right now. I probably should have done this a year ago, but I'm doing it right now.
That's so fun.
Yes. And I think also creating a list of activities, in the classroom is going to be helpful.
Well, it's just interesting. It's fun to hear this, because I have been reaching out to so many people to build something that felt right.
Yeah.
So it's fun to hear that you think what I'm telling you is right, because I've been the one reaching out to everybody else. So thank you. There
are some activities in the Teach with Strengths Facebook page. I know there's people have posted activities there. So it started, and I just think that we just need more.
Right.
And the vision here is that to get education, we're trying to create a national community of practice of teachers who are we're trying to bring out the strengths of their students, right?
Yep.
And Jill, to your point, I think right now, because I'm coming really from the kind of strengths community rather than, let's say, the education community, the adoption by educators has been slow, but it's growing. And I think the very fact that you're on this call is a great example of that. In fact, if you go to Teach with Strengths, you'll see that there is a survey at the top.
Okay.
Right, and it has a breakdown of it is self-selected by how many people are actually teachers, and it is rather on the list at the moment. But I've been noticing it's growing. So more and more teachers are. I mean, first off, teachers have to know about the tool, right, and then they have to somehow find the strength. By the way, could you suggest how could I encourage more teachers to join this group?
To give that some thought, I'm using social media effectively is not my strength. Like, I don't know that I'm sure the best place to, like other groups for you to go to recruit teachers. I'm not I don't know.
I mean, one of the reasons why I chose social media is because my experience, teachers are busy. Teachers don't have the luxury of going to a workshop or, I mean, unless they're amazing like you and they go to some conference over the summer, but I don't know how many teachers do that.
I think social media is a fabulous idea. I would suggest I'm using Twitter as well. More and more teachers I've been talking to, even just this school year, are using that more for professional development because it is so quick and they can scan things so quickly and decide which ones to invest more time in. I just think that at least teachers I know or other ones I'm connected to on social media aren't at all cued in yet to like positive education, strengths. I'm wondering where you could go that they are cued in to get their attention.
Right.
I'd have to give that some thought. Maybe if I come up with something, I could definitely.
If you just great. One thing I want to write down is connect with you on Twitter. Are you on Twitter?
Yes.
What's your Twitter handle?
Let me pull it up on my phone. I don't remember. I think.
No, we'll figure it out. No.
I can send it to you. It's like Jill Teach, but there's a number in it. I just.
All right.
don't remember.
All right. So, I just feel like we scratched the surface and it's already 5:06. I don't know where to go from here. I have a series of questions for the two of you, and I want to respect your time. Maybe I can ask one of you each a question. Is that fair? And then we'll call it a day. I don't know.
With the time I have tonight, that would work for me.
All right. So let me start, Kristen, with you. I guess I want to know, well, I'm very practical. This is a very practical. Where are you getting your funding, or how did that come about?
Yes.
And let me just point before I ask the question, are you aware that Navient offers Strengths Explorer assessments for free as a part of that membership? Do you know what Navient is?
I do. I learned that later, but yes. But we are
okay.
Our school is not a part of Navient.
All right.
But yes, I did see that. All
right. I'm just trying to save you money is all. I'm just trying to save you money.
I'm aware of it. I could know more, but they have good materials. Anyway.
The other thing I'll throw out there is that VIA is free, right?
I looked at that too.
Right.
Yeah. I guess right now I'm trying to drink the Strengths Kool-Aid, because
right. I get it. I'm with you.
I like it, So I'm trying to focus because I'm really, trying to be good at it. Right. So that's how you do it. So what was I going to say? The funding is I'm not charging a fortune. It's but I am charging enough to make it worth my time.
Yep.
And my deal is all printing. Any of the assessments, any of the other nice to haves are on them, and fine with that. So I just kind of, like, he wants to do, for example, we're going to do these jelly bracelets with their strengths on them, and and it's funny when you present it piecemeal, it doesn't seem to be a problem too much. So, but I don't know if that answers your question, but it's just I keep everything separate. Any additional
There's
expenses.
no grant. I mean, you kept referring to grants, but right now for this initial rollout, it's being funded directly by the school, by the
Mhm.
Board of Education, or help me understand that.
Yeah, it's being funded by the junior high. And he has a budget for staff development, and so it's within that. We've been pretty transparent. There are 2 grants we've applied for. The teachers have applied for actually, but I've helped them with the wording. But we find out about those grants in a couple weeks.
Will you please let us know on the Facebook group how you've done, or how you?
Yeah, it should be really good if those grants go through. These are going to be exciting projects. So
Yeah.
What's the name of the school district where you are?
Stillwater School District, District 834.
Stillwater?
Yep, Minnesota.
I just think it's so impressive that administrator just is willing to use, it's not a grant, that he's just willing to use district funds in this way. That's impressive.
He has so much, and I think, next year it'll be a little bit more, but again, it's just me who's doing this part. And so to make this sustainable, the only way I see this as being sustainable is if the teachers own it and are excited about it, and can be also knowledge experts. I feel like it'll grow exponentially then. So
this has been so useful to me, hearing your experiences, Kristen. Thank you so much.
thank
I
you.
feel like I've been doing this little thing in my classroom for a number of years, like around the kind of projects I explained, but I see how useful it is for that small group of students, and I'm just yearning to do it with a bigger group. And I've been part of some initiatives at my school where we've tried to roll out some other things as a bigger group with varying levels of success. So what I'm really interested in at this point is hearing other people's success stories about what worked larger scale. So this is really useful. Thank you.
How many students?
Let me ask you this. Would it be possible, perhaps maybe in a month's time, we could schedule another hangout? I mean, is there any interest in that? 'Cause I really would like to follow up on with the 2 of you and hear what's working and not working, and also share things that I find. So what's your appetite to continue this conversation?
I'm very interested. A month seems like a great time. Gives us time to do a little more work,
Would that
have
be-
something to bring back.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I appreciate the feedback. It helps. But I do have one question real quick. Jill, how many students do you have that you're doing this with?
So this semester 32.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just saying you could do the student poll.
Okay.
Measure engagement,
Yeah.
hope, and you don't have much time left. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay. That's a free thing I can get on there just to.
Yeah, you have to go on and just Google Gallup student poll and
Okay.
register, and it takes 10 to 15 minutes, and it gives you a point in time of how engaged they are, hopeful, entrepreneurial, math. But then the nice thing is be able to measure it, and then next year you can do it. And
Mr. Maximizer, I love it.
anyway, I want to put that out there because then you
Is it a pre-post kind of poll, or is it just once a year I'd be able to have them do that?
it's once a year.
Once a year.
Okay.
It's free, though.
And it's interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I'd be really interested in that. I actually have students, the same students 7th through 12th grade. So I could have some of the same students take it.
That'll be fun. It's reported by grade.
It's by grade?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bill, I would also like to offer you something.
Okay.
And this is a completely complimentary offer. I don't know, to agree, how you've been introduced to strengths, but you are talking to 3 certified coaches. And this is all I do. I coach people to use their strengths at a higher and more deep, more effective way. My sense is that you have been introduced to strengths through the assessment.
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah, and then now use your strengths book.
Yeah. All right. I am going to offer you a coaching session, completely complimentary.
Thank you.
If that sounds interesting to you.
Yeah, that's very interesting to me.
All right. So you and I, we will connect offline.
Okay, figure out.
And maybe you can share something at our next meeting about maybe how you some insights you took away from that.
Okay.
I think I just want to empower you. I just want to help you in any way I can, and if that's this, let's so be it. All right.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
All right, so I think I mean, this was just a starting point. What a great conversation. I just am really inspired to meet you both. Thank you for attending this. I really do hope to hear back. I will send out a date.
Okay.
If this time works for you, it doesn't work for you, but right now that this is not an accident. We all ended up here, so I'm probably going to start there. Maybe a Saturday in a month, around this time, and see if that works. All right.
Wonderful.
All right, so before we end, I'd like to check out, and the checkout will be this: what's your main takeaway? One thing from this conversation that you will take. All right, so who'd like to go first?
I think mine is just like this is happening other places and can be done at a larger scale, and that's really inspiring.
Thank you.
I guess my takeaway is I really appreciate the feedback and the acknowledgement that this feels right, and the enthusiasm means a lot. So and that helps me feel like I'm on the right track. So thank you.
Awesome. Tony.
For me, it's the connection, opportunity to learn what people are doing. The cross-fertilization of learning always just makes me happy. One word there's two words. For me, as Justin knows, is joy. I'm the joy of learning guy, so it gives me big happy smile and a big filled heart of joy. And the other word is hope. Hope, yeah. All those beaten drums into something beautiful. Yay,
Yeah.
Kristen, start with that nucleus and grow it. And just, I want to offer something just as a gentle suggestion. If it's possible, if it makes sense, it's doable, invite those 5 teachers you're working with and bring them into the conversation, literally.
Yep.
What a great idea. Are you saying?
And that is just a simple.
To this call?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and this would be a simple way to into the Teach with Strengths Facebook group as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put a note down for the Facebook page. Yeah.
So open invitation to them. That's a great suggestion. I will admit that it takes a certain dedication to a teacher to do something on a Saturday, right? And I think Jill, you definitely fall into that category. You are a rock star. Your commitment to your profession is truly inspiring. And maybe that's I guess that's my main takeaway. That your commitment to go to the conference. I don't know how you got to Dallas, okay? Your commitment to come here on a Saturday while your husband's doing the laundry or something. I don't know, you got. But I really appreciate that fact that you joined us and that you're now part of this, an integral part of this conversation.
Thank you. Thanks for the.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Wonderful conversations.
Thank you.
Just my heart is full. All right. Be well, all. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.